I think in the immediate term, almost certainly, Alex. If anything, and we heard that, didn't we, during the news bulletin there from Conservative MPs, we heard it from Andrea Leadsom as well, someone who's been quite critical of Boris Johnson over recent weeks, who voted against him yesterday, that for those rebels, many of them feel that now is not the time to keep stirring the pot. Now is the time to accept yesterday's result, a result, of course, which saw Boris Johnson win. And clearly the Prime Minister feels that need to move on, as he said, to draw a line under this and to focus on the issues that he thinks the public are concerned about. And it is interesting, and you alluded to it there, didn't you, Alex, that we are going to hear, I think, a whole swathe of policy announcements in the days and weeks to come. We know there's going to be a big speech with the Prime Minister alongside the Chancellor of the Economy and Housing on Thursday. But there is increasing pressure, I think, on taxation. There's a big section of the Conservative Party who are not happy with the level of taxation under this Conservative government. Of course, the tax burden is at its highest level for 70 years. And in fact, Lord Frost, David Frost, has been on the radio this lunchtime saying that the national insurance rise needs to be scrapped immediately, arguing that virtually no economy has ever got itself out of a deficit problem by cutting spending and raising taxes, but instead by raising the size of the cake, i.e. trying to grow the economy. So I think there will be pressure for Boris Johnson to do more when it comes to taxation, not least of all during this cost of living crisis. But in the end, does that mean that all the trouble, all the danger has passed for Boris Johnson? You can bet your bottom dollar it has not. And the reason I say that is because clearly 4 out of 10 Conservative MPs, almost certainly a majority of backbenchers, voting against the leader, against the Prime Minister, is very, very tricky territory for Boris Johnson. Can he really, in reality, win many of those MPs back? And he faces lots of challenges ahead, not least of all 2 by-elections in a couple of weeks' time in Wakefield and in Tiverton. It's entirely possible that the Conservatives could lose both of those by-elections to Labour and to the Liberal Democrats. Again, that will be a test of public opinion, of the public mood around the Prime Minister. And there is this Privileges Committee report into whether the Prime Minister lied to Parliament, whether he misled MPs. Again, that report's not going to come for a couple of more months, but it was to kind of question the Prime Minister or to argue that he did lie in front of Parliament. That undoubtedly would spark, I would suspect, another challenge. Now, in theory, he is safe, Alex, for another year. But it's perfectly clear, I think, to most Conservative MPs, is if there was a big move again, those rules could very easily be changed. So, Prime Minister wants to draw a line onto this. Many MPs do as well. Many feel the Prime Minister did win yesterday, and that the only way the Conservative Party could win the next election is by uniting, and by uniting behind Boris Johnson. But frankly, for many others, they feel that he is now so wounded by the size of the rebellion yesterday that they would argue that it is a matter of time now, rather than if Boris Johnson could sustain his premiership inside number 10 up to the next general election.